Hi there again, Martin Cohn from martincohnpublishing.com, and welcome to lesson number 3 in the coaching and business program towards 100,000 per year. Now, I wanted to start today's lesson with a fairly important point. I have probably covered it in previous lessons, but essentially it's about recognizing that the business we're creating is a live, living, functional business. It's not set and forget. I know many internet marketing people tell you, look, you can set up various businesses, create a 3 or 4 page website, fill up your autoresponder with a bit of information and emails, and you can then set and forget everything. Clearly, that's not quite what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a very active, a very involved, and very proactive living business. It doesn't mean that the set and forget internet marketing style doesn't work, but I'm talking about having a business that is actually continuing on with your active involvement. Now, you are building a real business, and this means that you have to run it properly. You have to evaluate sales copy, you'll have to evaluate your current sales, what sells to whom, you'll have to evaluate your traffic sources, and so forth. So having said all of that, now that you know the model, you have a good idea of what we'll be working on. And hence, we can now more accurately ask ourselves, are we ready to get started? Of course, you say, I thought we were never going to actually get to this point. I needed to cover that information. It is an important part of the foundation of the business, and that is very much something that I wanted to make sure that we had covered. Now, let's get started on our first round of work. If you haven't already filled out the questions that we'd spoken about in previous lessons, please get to that. I recommend that you get to that today if you haven't already done it. Hopefully those of you who are more proactive have already answered those questions. I've actually got a whole series more questions. The more detailed we can be with these answers, the easier it's going to be to actually have a plan. In fact, this is the foundational basis of that plan. So, what is exactly your dream business? What is it that you want to do? What do you believe that you can achieve with this business, apart from the 100K, of course? Why do you believe that you should create the business? Now, obviously, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you want to make money, but there must be more. How will your big idea change lives? How is it different or even similar to other web businesses that are similar? The reason I ask that is, if you're doing something similar to someone else, what is the secret sauce in your business that's going to make people more inclined to come to you? I always call this the elevator conversation. You've got basically 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds tops to explain to someone you've just met what it's all about. You don't want it to be all flowery. You just want to be able to say, what am I doing and why should you come with me? What will be included in your big business dream site? We'll write down anything and everything else about your dream and your business. The more detailed here, the more you can actually bring it to reality. It's essentially a complete and total plan. Now, when you have your weaknesses noted down, you know what they are, you can actually work to overcome them. What challenges have you faced in the past in trying to implement your big dream? If you have never started, why not? What's held you back? What was, that block, or that stumbling block constantly saying, no, I'll do it tomorrow, or it's all too hard today, and so on. If you've even started but failed or stalled, what happened? What do you see as your 3 biggest weaknesses? I know we've covered this in previous lessons, but it's important to get this down. How do those weaknesses stunt your growth? Now that you've got these initial questions sorted, we can move on to the next part. Who desperately needs what you're going to sell or teach? Why do they need it from you and no one else? We covered that earlier, of course. Is anyone else doing exactly the same thing? How is your solution different or better than anyone else's who teaches what you want to? How is your solution going to change other people's lives? Is your solution simpler or more complex than existing solutions? Do you want to be a leader in your business concept? Or are you just going to go along with everyone else and get by? Did you make more revenue last year online than the year before? Are you already selling your solution in a smaller form, but you want to go big and viral now? If so, how many units do you sell each month, and at what price each? Do you have an enthusiastic fan base to whom you can tell about your great idea? If so, what is that fan base, and how many are in it? If you know that you can change lives, but haven't been able to up until now, what are the top 3 things that have stopped you from doing it? Or better still, what are the top 3 things that you can do to turn it around? Do you want to follow a proven model, or do you want to reinvent the wheel? On a scale of 1 to 10, how determined are you to change the world with your solution? On a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you want to make $100,000 in the coming year? How hard are you willing to work to make this happen? What are you willing to drop or get rid of to make the 100K this year, changing the world with your solution? What will be the 3 biggest things that will change your life to get this viral innovative business off the ground? And final question, what is going to be the best part about working with you on this project? Now that you've written down all these questions, I'm encouraging you to take the time, take a day, take 2 days if you need to, fill in those answers as deeply, as concertedly as you possibly can, and remember to be honest. This is not about something that you're going to hand in as an assignment to someone else. This is for you. When you know the answers to these questions, you will absolutely know the answers to what business you need to be in terms of a coaching model, a product model. It's something that hopefully you know already, or you might even be in the active phases of research. You've got to start somewhere, and answering the more details in these questions as possible, the clearer will be your roadmap. This becomes a little bit clearer once again as we go on. I'm going to talk about something called a 10 by 10 matrix. Now, in a 10 by 10 matrix, you simply have to follow some directions. And note that this is critically important, as I've said before, this is going to serve as your guide to creating your business. The very first step in creating products is quickly to create a 10 by 10 matrix. The 10 by 10 matrix is going to form the outline for your next few phases of your information marketing business process. When you've completed the matrix, recognize that this is now going to contain a total of 100 lines, each of which can serve as an article topic, a page in an ebook, a topic in a CD or DVD series, or home study course or coaching program. Each line can also serve as the topic of an email for your email campaign in your autoresponder. I know that right now you might be thinking, I want to just create one simple product right now. I don't want to outline or design anything or an entire product funnel. This feels absolutely counterintuitive, I know. However, I also know that from experience, once you've taken the 2 to 3 hours that are necessary to complete this step, to create your 10 by 10 matrix, everything else will fall together really quickly. The clarity will have you, after completing this matrix, be so incredible, you'll be basically wondering why you simply didn't do it before. The first thing that we're going to do is create a final or preliminary topic for our 10 by 10 matrix. This will basically be our niche theme. For example, if your niche happens to be in the weight loss area, the topic of your 10 by 10 matrix could be weight loss or how to lose weight. If your niche theme is dog training, the topic in your matrix could be dog training or how to train your dog. Let's get started first by naming your 10 by 10 matrix. I suggest creating a word processing document. I typically use Word, you might use any other program. And at the top of the document, write the name of your 10 by 10 matrix. Now the next step is to think of 10 areas where you could teach someone about your niche, and write out on one line for each of these topics, which will be your ultimate sectional topics. Let's just imagine we're talking about gardening. The first 10 lines might be basic concepts of gardening, vegetable gardening, fruit gardening, inside gardening, outside gardening, gardening in tropical climates, gardening in cold climates, how to plant, how to take care of weeds or weed removal, how to preserve your vegetables. So you've now got 10 lines or 10 subjects in subsections of gardening. But we need more than 10 topics. So in order to create more on this process or this matrix, we then can say, all right, let's create 10 subtopics for each of our other 10 topics. So we'll now have a total of 100 subtopics. So for example, let's start with the first one where we talked about basic concepts of gardening. So we could create a new line of 10 subtopics. Soil, choosing what to grow, what months to plant, what months to tend, what months to harvest, how to plant, how to weed, how to use fertilizer, how to use organic fertilizer, and how to protect your plants. And then the idea is to move on to the second line, which was vegetable gardening, and then answer or place 10 further subsets to that original point. So we then could say vegetable gardening, fruit gardening, inside gardening, outside gardening, gardening in tropical climates, gardening in cold climates, and so on and so on. By filling in these matrices in this process, you'll end up with at least 100 total subject areas, which you can then expand on and create your course, whether it be in the form of written emails, an ebook with chapters, subheadings, and so forth, a video DVD process, and so on. You need this plan because it is a complete and total roadmap to creating your complete product. And this is why we've spent so much time in the preparatory phase doing this research, which 99% of product creators ignore, is what will give you and your product the backbone, the stamina to be a filled product, a complete and well-rounded product that will attract buyers. I know this exercise isn't easy. I have been procrastinating on these very exercises for years, and is why it's taken me so long to reach this point. But at the same time, whilst I now recognize I've had to absolutely labor and force the point with you to avoid you having to spend years and years mucking around spinning your wheels when you can actually get straight in there with a solid plan and produce a really solid product as well. Once this is all completed, you can easily, as I said before, write your ebook, create your video program, create your audio program, and so on. It's much easier when you've got a complete 10 by 10 matrix. So essentially, with what we've done so far, if you can spend the next 2 to 3 hours working on this matrix, it's going to absolutely make the rest of this course an absolute dream. It totally makes everything so much simpler when you're following an existing roadmap. Now, there's one other final assignment before I close off this particular lesson. It's a writing lesson. First of all, I'm going to welcome you to this writing part of the course. And over the next 40 lessons or so, you will be learning from me and doing daily 20-minute written assignments. If you complete all of these, which I naturally expect you would be because you're serious and you've established that this is something you find worthwhile doing, it's going to lead you to the next level and beyond in persuasive writing skills. I've been developing and fine-tuning my personal skills of persuasive writing for several years, and believe I've developed a powerful process for increasing your skills as well. Please understand that not all of the writing lessons might feel natural or even needed, but please trust me as I lead you through this process and these assignments. You see, I want you to learn to write persuasively, naturally, not stiff as if you're using a format. This is a level of immersion that needs to occur. Here's today's assignment. I want you to write a 500-page essay explaining why you should eat an apple each day. Don't worry about doing research. You can have fictional reasons why there are benefits to having an apple each day. You only have 20 minutes to do this assignment, and I'm specifically limiting the amount of time you should spend on this. The idea is that you don't spend time overworking it. Write naturally, write what comes to you as you think about it. Now, I completely understand you may not know anything other than apples are good for you and keeps the doctor away. Just start writing and see how you go. Even if you have to set a timer, a stopwatch for 20 minutes, use your smartphone, whatever you have, and after 20 minutes when the alarm goes off, stop and just look at what you've written. That is your assignment for today. You don't even have to read it when you're finished, just do the assignment. So essentially what we've got for today is your 10 by 10 matrix and also this written assignment. I told you that I'd be working this hard, and this is worth the effort in the long run. So what have we done so far? We've outlined the formula for our 100K business. We've identified the the parts of the business, which are the people, the products, and the persuasive writing. We've answered the questions about what we're going to actually do in business, what is our plan for all of our various subject matters and topics, and we've even planned a lesson. It may have been about apples, but it's going to help with the writing as we progress through this course. I know this has been an extremely intense series of first lessons. I was planning on this being one lesson, and I've actually, as you can tell, split this up to be the third video. I didn't want to overwhelm you, even though you may still feel overwhelmed, and felt that I'd rather break it up into 3 separate days' work. This will absolutely pay off, and I'm really looking forward to reading of your results in coming days. So, if you're beginning over the weekend, use this weekend time. Instead of running outside all the time, spend 2 or 3 hours at your desk. This is absolutely worth the long-term results. If it means you don't watch an hour of TV tonight, it is absolutely worth trading that time for what you're going to achieve doing these assignments. I really look forward to hearing all your results. Have an absolutely awesome one, and let's get cracking on the assignment, the 10 by 10 matrix, as well as the written exercise. Thanks. Have a good one.